Hello there and welcome to a video about everybody's favorite game, Garten of Banban. This video was decided by a poll. Very spooky. This section might be better if it had screaming children, unless it was meant to be a singled out individual that got affected by this. Though even then, I believe another sound effect might make this scene more impactful. Maybe creepy whispering with reverb applied. The motion blur is horrendous, and I believe there is no way to disable it. This trash can model is pretty neat. Sprinting makes you unnecessarily fast. Some parts in this video that hold no value to the game's progression or any comments I could make will be sped up like this. How do I get the remote working? These info boxes that pop up in the corners, while they do fit the overall style of the game, interrupt the overall atmosphere I believe the developers were trying to achieve. Things like this should be told some other in-game way, not just through immersion-breaking text boxes. Also, not everything needs to be a puzzle. A puzzle for the remote would be good to activate some secondary function which will be used for future puzzles, not to get the remote working in the first place. One would think that the developers would prevent this from happening somehow, but maybe that prevention broke the puzzles and game too much in testing. This drone is much too slow for engaging puzzles. There could be so much more room for fast-paced puzzles if only this drone was faster. Also, I have no idea why the game detects a wall in the air sometimes. I'm not sure how Unreal Engine works, so I can't suggest anything, but whatever it is, it messes up the drone puzzles a lot. OPLR sure is spooky, but it would be much spookier if it was further back and if the hallway was darker. Maybe slightly glowing eyes would help as well, but I'm not sure. That light sequence was probably one of the best scenes in the game, which is a shame, because not much happens in that scene. Okay, this is more to my point. I get that somebody was probably confused during testing, but why include this? Either make that discovery easy to make in-game, or just don't include that at all. Also, I believe the developers abandoned the yellow glass by the third game. I still ended up figuring it out on my own even though I didn't read it yet. I am not particularly good at understanding what games want of me, proved by my being in this room even though I need to be in the other room. And why make the glass simply disintegrate instead of just leaving it as a movable prop like the chairs? This game is so dedicated to realism that it will make unnecessary hardware requirements while being incredibly unoptimized and make a unremovable motion blur, yet it won't allow glass to remain on the floor. Besides, the glass is way too thick. For set glass that's fine, but for props that could be an issue. Egg 1 has been acquired, again with the unnecessary info boxes. Egg 2. There was almost nothing to signal that this button was hidden here. I must say, the command for the drone to automatically come to the room that you are in saves tons of time. Never mind the choice for animation being really bad, what's with the choice for sound effect? It could have at least been a hollow thunking sound to give the illusion that OPLR was made of thick plastic, or maybe a more fleshy sound, to show that OPLR is not as it quite seems. But this sound is a poor choice. I get that it's supposed to be crumpled paper, but its texture looks like stone. I always somehow end up getting to an unintended high point on the map before actually figuring out where to go. Ah, I seem to have missed this button. I wonder what it does. I like the button's texture, it's a nice shade of red. Ah, that's what the button does, it makes another egg available for collection. Opila's eyes are unnecessarily pink. Also, I believe the animation for the egg didn't play this time. Finally, another egg. I spent a good 7 minutes looking for that one. I guess I'll give Opila that egg, for I don't know what else to do. Finally, another one. That egg couldn't have been there previously. I think I already looked there, I could be wrong though. That choice for sound effect still sounds extremely odd. Finally, another egg. Why is this egg's hitbox so weird? The animation failed to play again. Oh, that must have been all of them. Why did the notification take so long to play? I will still complain about the notification though, even if I would have wandered for another half hour without it. The notifications are a bad feature. I finally know what to do. The rest of the game should be easy from here. A weird thing with the buttons is that they seem to light up when they become active, even tough the material doesn't suggest that the light source could be coming from inside, and there doesn't seem to be another light pointing at the button. What is distraction at 1 supposed to mean? I believe that I am supposed to use the hammer for these boards. Why would the hammer specifically pull these boards down? There doesn't seem to be any nails in the board, and even if there were any, you can just aim anywhere on the board and it will fall down. Though, it would likely be extremely annoying to have to sit through a 10-minute animation of the nail floating out of the board every time you have to remove one so that all the boards can fall down. One last thing, there should be more boards. The person we play as could certainly crawl under the boards, and, if we don't need to remove the individual nails, what's the harm in adding more boards? There should still be small cracks where you can see the next room through the boards though. This light activation scene is also pretty neat. Being able to see more of the footprints is also nice. The death here is incredibly bad. The egg sound is already bad. Why did they have to use it for this death scene too? It should have been a wind sound effect. Also, what is the point in having an invisible border there? Either make a proper reason why I shouldn't be able to cross, or allow me to cross over. Invisible walls are always a bad choice unless it is placed out of bounds anyways. Great, I missed the weird, out of place transport method, and now I have to wait for another bench to come around. Perhaps it might have been wise to make the bench only move once you are on it. Also, I forgot to mention, the game would have been much better if you could go down the slide, and, when going down the tube slide, you could see the egg that was hidden in it, hinting that that egg was hidden in the slide. Oh no, the animation for the buttons is relatively slow. This will be painful. This section is also poorly constructed, because it suggests that the player paid attention to the murals of all the characters. I am fortunate due to the fact that I am familiar with this series, and, normally I enjoy surveying my surroundings in games, but a normal player might not think to do that, rendering progression without a guide impossible, which is not something one would want in a playthrough. Oh no. Very spooky. The weird crayon bird is approaching while staring at me. The staring is actually somewhat unnerving with its pink eyes. great. The chase lasted all of 3 seconds and had no visible stakes. The chase was barely a chase too. There was no misdirection, no moving parts, no real danger, and it didn't try and tire you out or build any real tension. Also, the platform made no sense. Why is there a winding pathway, made of wood, stuck in the walls? They could have certainly figured out another way to make this make sense. I am going to place all of these props on the moving part of the floor to see what happens. Why would you ever simply leave your plane ticket on your desk, in your office, which any of your coworkers or employees could access and possibly steal your plane ticket? Now to wait for another half hour to say what happens to those props. Ha! They just got moved to this platform. I wonder how many props I could possibly place on this platform. Alright, time to reach the end of this game. I wonder if I can get on top of these props. I can. Also, this is a good use of invisible walls. It is only in place to work against people who mess with the game and people who experience glitches, and it's only in place to protect against the void, not a part of the game that you are maneuvering to anyways, in which the wall only serves to make your playthrough longer, and not to protect against skipping puzzles. Oh no. How spooky, a big green crayon creature with red paint on its hands and weird textures on its eyes. The shaking animation here wouldn't be nearly as bad if it weren't for the eternal motion blur. This end part is pretty nice. It would be much better if it didn't have the colorful advertisement for the next game though. Apart from that, the atmosphere is well made. The lights animation makes no sense though. It is swinging and then it just turns off, not even flickering. It just turns off. That should be it for this video. Please comment your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Goodbye.